El-Dorado International Airport, Bogotá, Colombia. Security threats, illegal immigration, and contraband. Every airport has its fair share. But El-Dorado is special. It's Colombia's biggest airport and one of the busiest in Latin America. The officials here are on the front lines for containing Colombia's most infamous export, cocaine. And smugglers will try anything to move their product. With a flight departing every 7 minutes, officers race against the clock to put a stop to illegal activity. 24/7, 365, the flights never stop. Nor does the work of the men and women of El-Dorado's airport security. El-Dorado Airport. More than 500 police officers provide daily security for the passengers moving through its terminals. And with almost 350 drug arrests in 2014, the officers stay busy. A plane en route to Madrid prepares for departure. In the baggage area, airport personnel sort the flight's luggage. While anti-narcotics officers perform a crucial inspection using drug-sniffing dogs.
Muy bien. Vamos, Arnold. Eso es. Hola. Vamos bien. Sub. Eso es. Muy bien.
Díaz. Por favor, el encargado de este vuelo para que venga y recoja un equipaje que va para revisión.
The dog signals that this luggage may possibly contain a narcotic substance.
Officers remove the suspicious bag. It will be inspected thoroughly in the presence of its owner, a Dutch citizen on his way to Europe.
In the case of passengers like him, who are foreigners, you make sure that they fully understand the inspection process. The passenger states that yes, he does understand and that he agrees to have his luggage inspected.
Me voy a Madrid.
¿Va solo?
Sí.
¿Vive allá?
No, yo vivo en la República Dominicana.
¿De vacaciones?
Sí, no, sí. Perdí a mis hijos en enero. Entonces hice un viaje ahora. Primero a Colombia, ahora a Madrid. Sí.
¿Está cerca su equipaje?
¿Cerca? ¿Cómo cerca?
Ahí.
Sí, yo sé, yo lo vi, está bien.
¿Tiene cargado?
Sí. No. Tienen que controlarlo, ¿verdad? Bien.
Caballero, vamos a realizar el procedimiento.
Sí, por favor.
Por favor, verifique, venga para que observe, es tan amable. Este equipaje al parecer tiene algo en la parte interna.
Sí, es fortificado, pero no es droga, no puede, ¿entiendes?
Exactamente, vamos a verificar eso.
Verifícalo,
unas pruebas de
por favor.
y verificamos.
Porque eso no puede ser, porque yo sé que no es, ¿entiendes?
Sí.
Hágalo test.
Verificamos ya.
Okay.
No hay problema.
The only strange thing I noticed was that he was sweating a lot. He seems comfortable with how the police officers treat him and agrees with the inspection process. Meanwhile, he tries to throw us off with his calm demeanor. We see that the alterations to the suitcase were well done. It took a while for the personnel well trained in these situations to open the false bottom of the suitcase.
Caballero, acérquese, mire lo que estamos extrayendo de su equipaje.
Sí.
At that point, we see evidence of plastic and black paper. Then, when we finally reach the bottom of the suitcase, we also find something white.
Caballero, estas son las dos pruebas de campo que nosotros tenemos. Esta, la que señala el punto verde, nos da positivo para heroína. La que nos da coloración azul es positivo para cocaína. Vamos a verificar.
Sí, téstalo, por favor.
Con esa Felipe 5 hacia 6.
Ok, ya le solicito a la policía.
A flight to Mexico readies for departure. In the boarding area, anti-narcotics officers flag a 21-year-old male.
¿Estás a la espera?
Espéreme un momentico ahí.
The agents know he's traveling with two companions. But in the bustle of the terminal, the other suspects have managed to avoid security personnel.
We had 3 passengers that initially transited to the international terminal. Once they passed immigration and security, each of them went different ways. Only one of them was profiled by our security team.
A body scan is immediately conducted, leading to a positive result.
Al parecer, en la placa abdominal se le dieron sustancias en su organismo.
If that gentleman had narcotic substances on him, it's highly probable that those traveling with him also do. The profile of the 2 other people as possible carriers is also raised.
Con 2 más. Yo se lo vi hablando con esas 2 personas y le dije, ¿viene con alguien? Me dijo no.
Pero sí, usted no sabe por qué uno hace las cosas.
¿O no? Que no saben.
Señor, usted está en estos momentos, no está en condiciones para venir acá a exigir. ¿Listo? Haga silencio, ¿listo, señor? Usted acá no está en condiciones de exigir nada. ¿Listo? Debe los derechos del capturado, no de la esposa. Está capturado, señor, en estos momentos.
While inspecting what little he had of carry-on luggage, we found he had a copy of his ticket reservation, and we found out he was traveling with 2 other people. We already knew they were traveling on the same flight, and now we proceeded to search for the other 2 people.
¿Lleva maleta de bodega?
No, solamente
¿Solo esa maleta? ¿Cuánto le costó su tiquete?
como 1.600.000.
¿Lo pagó en efectivo con tarjeta?
En efectivo, la fundación, o sea, como trabajo con una fundación de jóvenes indígenas, trabajamos con derechos humanos en la zona de Cauca, entonces...
¿Viaja con su compañero?
Sí.
Vamos a realizarle un control por parte de la Policía Nacional, verificando que no lleve cuerpos extraños dentro de su organismo. ¿Sí? Pues ya se sienta ahí y ya lo llamo.
Señores, ¿cómo están? Por favor, me permiten dejar las cosas acá hasta la madre. ¿Me permiten un poco que no está la madre?
¿Él era su compañero? ¿Sí?
Esto... ya las...
Finally, officers track down the 2 passengers they're searching for. In one of the airport's reconciliation rooms, officers uncover a suspicious substance hidden in the false compartment of a Dutch passenger's checked luggage. Now, they prepare to find out if they're dealing with narcotics.
Esta es la primera prueba. Eso es lo que les trajimos a su equipaje. Esta es prueba para verificación si es heroína. Si da tonalidad verde, sería positivo para heroína. ¿Listo? No arroja ninguna tonalidad. Vamos por la de cocaína, ¿listo? Bueno. Esa ya es la verificación si la sustancia que usted tiene ahí es cocaína, ¿listo?
Sí, sí.
Caballero, lo que usted lleva en este equipaje da positivo para cocaína.
Pues sí.
Eso es lo que lleva aquí en su equipaje, como usted lo ha podido observar. Esa es la sustancia que nosotros extraímos y como yo le expliqué, es positivo para alcaloide, en este caso cocaína.
The passenger claims he doesn't know the origin of the drugs, that they shouldn't be there and that he didn't put the drugs in the suitcase.
A partir del momento usted se encuentra capturado por las autoridades colombianas, por la Policía Nacional, tiene derecho a guardar silencio.
He's informed that he is now under arrest. He's read his rights and asked if he understands the reason for his arrest and what is happening.
¿Entendió sus derechos? Sí. ¿Tiene alguna duda?
No, preguntas no tengo. Ya no lo tengo. Está bien, déjeme llamar a mi esposa. Y dame un abogado, porque mira.
Ok.
Eso
Listo, no hay problema. Entonces entendió sus derechos.
Sí.
Caballero, ¿me permite por favor su otro equipaje? Lo verificamos también. Colóquemelo aquí.
We proceed with the inspection of his carry-on bag, since he has luggage with similar characteristics.
El caballero también tiene una sustancia blanca similar a la del anterior equipaje, ¿listo? También va a ser objeto de verificación por parte de la policía colombiana.
Sí.
While inspecting the luggage, we noticed that the suitcase lining was very thick. From there, we could determine that the passenger was carrying drugs in his check bag and his carry-on.
El-Dorado International Airport is a hub of activity, with 27 airlines transporting more than 27 million passengers a year. And to guarantee the safety of the millions of bags transported through its terminals, a complex baggage inspection and transportation system is necessary.
El-Dorado is a state-of-the-art airport when it comes to security and baggage monitoring systems. Each suitcase goes into an individual tray so that the luggage goes through the screening process as efficiently as possible. The system can process 10,200 suitcases per hour.
100% of the suitcases pass through the scanner machine. The scanner only determines if a suitcase is contaminated in some way. The scanner image is then sent to a monitor, where an official then confirms the presence of a foreign object. Basically, they are scanners that manage 2 dimensions of level 1 or 3 dimensions of level 3. This baggage system at El-Dorado guarantees that all baggage loaded on the departing planes is clean.
Anti-narcotics officers arrest a young man for ingesting capsules of cocaine. And they've managed to link 2 other passengers to the detained man.
¿Él era su compañero? ¿Sí?
We've got 2 brothers that were traveling with a 3rd young man who has already been found to be carrying narcotics inside his body.
They come from an indigenous community. They say they're going there to do charity work, and it's an excellent cover story to be able to go to Mexico.
¿Quién puede llamar al general Barrera? Es que nosotros estamos en la zona del Cauca con derechos humanos.
Tranquilo, entonces vamos a hacer el procedimiento normal de
Listo.
We proceed with the abdominal X-ray to verify that there are no foreign objects inside his body.
Tome asiento, caballero. Siga por acá, señor. La misma posición, por favor.
Y se corrobora que
And it confirms that inside his body, he's got some kind of narcotic, seemingly cocaine.
This was a case in which 3 people were arrested on the same flight. A lot of these people believe that if they travel in a group, the moment one of them is captured, the police are going to be distracted. They feel that if they nab one of them, the other 2 will get through. These ill-named mules are not aware that one person could connect the police to the others.
Al parecer, en la placa abdominal se le dieron sustancias en su organismo. Fue detenido por la Policía Nacional.
¿Entiende cuáles son sus derechos como capturado? ¿Sí?
Sí, lo que no tengo conocimiento es que llevo, o por qué estoy acá.
Usted lleva unos cuerpos extraños dentro de su organismo. Al parecer estupefacientes. ¿Listo? Eso es un delito, es ley 30.
At the moment of the arrest, when reading them their rights, these individuals pretend not to understand anything. They play dumb, trying to slow up our work.
¿Sí?
Pues no sé, porque la verdad no...
Entiende sus derechos, que tiene derecho a guardar silencio, tiene derecho a hacer una llamada. Si usted no tiene dinero para contactar a un abogado, el Estado le va a poner uno. ¿Entiende eso?
All 3 men are now arrested, yet they still refuse to confess to the number of capsules in their bodies.
¿No van a decir?
La verdad no
They claimed that in reality they had no idea of exactly how many capsules they had consumed because they didn't know if they had been drugged or if they were given alcohol. To tell you the truth, their version about having no knowledge has very little credibility. I believe they are well aware of what they were consuming, who they have to hand it off to, and how they have to do it.
Time is of the essence. In order to ensure the health of the passengers, the officers need to know what kind of drug and how many capsules they've ingested.
Es muy peligroso para estas
It's a very dangerous situation for these people, which is why they're immediately taken to the hospital so that they can pass these foreign objects from their bodies. If any one of these foreign elements was to rupture inside their body, it may cause their death.
Back in the reconciliation room, officers detain a Dutch passenger for attempting to smuggle cocaine using false compartments in his luggage.
¿Viaja solo? ¿De dónde viene, caballero?
Ahora viene de Cartagena.
¿Cartagena?
Sí.
Ah, ok. ¿Destino final?
Madrid era.
Piernas paradas, quieto.
Yo quiero llamar a mi mujer. Sí. Esto es importante, ¿entiendes? Y un abogado, porque yo necesito un abogado ahora.
Obviamente. Cuando hacemos el proceso de judicialización, usted podrá hacer uso del derecho a su llamada.
Okay.
Officers now have to confirm that he's not carrying ingested drugs in his body. So he's transferred to the body scan room.
Completamente quieto ahí.
Sí, quieto aquí.
The Dutchman's body is clean. Now he will face the Colombian justice system for his alleged crime.
My children died on January 16th in a hospital in the Dominican Republic. I had bills to pay. A man wanted to help me. He says nothing happens because it's a chemical thing, so nothing can happen. And I will pay you well for that. Nothing will happen. Now I am surprised because, look, here I am. I can't get out of it now. I'm speechless. Speechless.
The Dutch passenger was carrying over 5 kilos of cocaine in the 2 false compartments of his bags. For this crime, he could face up to 30 years in prison.
An airport operations team includes airport security. We also manage the fire department. We also have a highly specialized team for controlling hazards connected to birds and wild animals. We have state-of-the-art technologies in the airport.
"70 men form El-Dorado's fire department. An outfit capable of responding to any potential emergency within 1 minute and 45 seconds.
Torre de control bomberos a la hora establecido en Delta a la altura de la
This FLIR camera is an additional tool that we requested for El-Dorado's fire truck. It tells us where the high temperatures are concentrated. In this case, the whitest part of our screen will allow us to determine the areas of highest temperature. It's most likely that it will take the entire runway. We have to be well prepared. We'll wait for instructions from the tower. The number of takeoffs and landings here in Bogotá is quite high. So under these circumstances, we have to be constantly monitoring the equipment. It has to always be newly updated or serviced so we can be ready for any possible threat.
Every month, nearly 1.2 million people travel to Colombia. And almost 60% of those travelers do it through El-Dorado, making the airport the country's principal migratory gateway. Anti-narcotics officers detain a man flying to Mexico. In his carry-on, the agents notice something suspicious about his computer.
Por parte de Policía Nacional de Antinarcótico vamos a realizar un procedimiento de control a los elementos que usted lleva en ese momento bajo su posesión. Este computador es suyo, ¿cierto?
We found a laptop computer with somewhat suspicious characteristics. The screen is quite thick compared to a normal screen.
En comparación de lo normal. El computador se encuentra en normal funcionamiento.
The computer was in normal condition. However, we continued to have our doubts because the screen was so thick. So we decided to open it up, starting with the screen, which we noticed was the thickest part, removing each of the layers to see what was inside. When the screen was pulled apart, we identified thin sheets wrapped in a kind of metallic paper. That contained very thin bags of a powdery substance.
Muy bien, caballero, vamos a hacer una prueba de narcotex. Si lo que usted contiene dentro de esta barra es un tipo de sustancia estupefaciente, al parecer cocaína, va a dar un tono azul celeste. Muy bien. Caballero, positivo para cocaína. A partir de ese momento usted queda capturado. Tiene derecho a guardar silencio. Tiene derecho a un abogado. Si no tiene dinero para pagar uno, el Estado le proporcionará uno. ¿Entiende sus derechos, caballero? Sí, señor. Muy bien, entonces a partir de este momento va a iniciar con su proceso de judicialización y posteriormente estará entregado a disposición de la Fiscalía.
¿Tiene celulares?
Ese. ¿Solo ese?
Sí, señor.
Acá contra la pared, por favor. No, señor caballero, ahorita cuando estemos en la estación puede sacar los números que desee y puede hacer la llamada. Muy bien.
Generally, drugs are concealed in modifications in carry-on bags, but not in the contents inside of the bag. Finding drugs inside pieces of electronic equipment is very rare. The inspector has to be very shrewd. He must have an open mind. Any place you can stash cocaine, the trafficker will try to do so.
The passenger is arrested attempting to smuggle over 700 grams of cocaine inside the screen of his laptop computer. For this crime, he could see between 8 and 12 years in prison. El-corrado Airport staffs 35 immigration stations. Here, officials check travel documents and verify that passengers do not have any pending legal issues in Colombia or other countries. Immigration detains approximately 600 travelers a year for outstanding arrest warrants. The work is carried out in collaboration with Interpol.
There are people, international criminals, that attempt to enter Colombia with passports stolen in other countries.
The immigration system of Colombia is connected to Interpol's database. It is connected to the criminal databases managed by the National Police of Colombia. We have a notification system that allows us to effectively identify those travelers with unresolved legal issues.
The system alerted us, informing us that the gentleman has an arrest warrant on corruption charges.
When a person is entering Colombia through El-Dorado International Airport and has a legal issue, we immediately talk to the airport police. When it has to do with Interpol issues, working with our Colombian Interpol contacts, we immediately start to conduct detentions acting under the auspices of Colombian immigration. And conduct the arrests with the National Police of Colombia.
Señor, buenas noches.
¿Dinero en efectivo que trae en la parte donde la perra me está marcando?
No, la billetera.
Airport security does not simply involve stopping drug trafficking and illegal immigration. Airport personnel must also ensure that the flow of goods and cash moving through the airport is done in accordance with Colombian law.
Hasta luego. ¿Dónde viene? De España. ¿Motivo de su viaje? Vengo a pasear. ¿Dinero en efectivo, dólares, euros? Sí, tengo. ¿Cuánto traen? 5.000, como 4.000. ¿Nada más? ¿Euros o dólares? Euros. ¿Me acompañan con ustedes tan amables? Vale.
Screening passengers is about gathering intelligence. Information is received 72 hours before flight departure. We can determine the frequency with which a passenger travels, if taxes are paid, if travel is on first class or not on first class. And for those individuals that are harder to decipher as to their job or activities, they will be subjected to a thorough inspection to find out if they're working as mules, bringing money or guns into the country.
Vengo a hacer compras, a hacer unos pagos.
¿Cuánto dinero trae en el momento?
Bueno, ya yo declaré 25.700, pero como ya hice...
¿Ese es su dinero?
Sí, es mi dinero.
¿Dónde proviene ese dinero?
Yo soy empresaria, tengo 2 estéticas, una clínica de belleza.
In realidad, we depend a lot on intelligence provided by the United States and neighboring countries to inform us when someone is bringing in dollars. On many occasions, Mexico sends us information that someone is traveling with dollars of unknown origin. No one is allowed to travel with more than $10,000 without notifying customs of what the money will be used for and where the money comes from.
Caballero, buenas noches. ¿De dónde viene el señor?
De Miami.
¿A qué ciudad del país se dirige?
Ahí está.
¿Dinero en efectivo que traigas en este momento a Colombia? ¿Dólares, euros?
Tengo mi dinero, sí.
¿Cuánto aproximadamente?
Y menos de 10.000.
¿Cuánto es menos de 10.000?
9.
¿9.000? ¿Seguro que tiene esa cantidad?
Sí.
Totalmente seguro. Si vamos a un conteo...
Tengo 10.000, pues es mi dinero.
Sí, tiene 10.000. Sí.
Que es lo que se puede entrar, ¿no?
Sí, ok. Me asegura que solo tiene 10.000.
Voy a sacar acá de... Sí,
¿Me acompaña, por favor?
An Argentinian passenger is vague about the amount of cash he's carrying. If inspectors discover he's holding more than what he declared, he may have to pay a fine. El-Dorado immigration. Officers are faced with an unusual situation. They must coordinate the transport of 8 Bangladeshi citizens carrying forged papers.
We checked the documents and they are not valid. There are some falsified elements. Those gentlemen had previously been in Brazil on the refugee status. We contacted the Brazilian authorities and they agreed to take them back.
Recibí una llamada de la regional de Antioquia. Vamos a prestar el apoyo para hacer el traslado de 8 ciudadanos de Bangladesh en la ruta Bogotá-Leticia, y allá le vamos a hacer entrega de estos señores a las autoridades migratorias de Brasil. Yo había pensado enviar un funcionario bilingüe porque estos señores hablan inglés y que tenga experiencia. Yo había pensado que Edwin nos podía apoyar con el tema, entonces a ver si lo podríamos ubicar.
Sí, perfecto. Está acá sentado. Hola, Edwin.
Feliz viaje, que tengan un feliz día.
¿Cómo estás?
Hola, jefe, ¿cómo estás?
Ahí está la documentación. Son 8 ciudadanos, están los documentos de viaje, entonces para que usted vaya a la aerolínea y haga todo el trámite de check. Yo he trabajado.
I've worked these kinds of deportation cases for a few years now. I have the necessary experience to escort and look after the citizens that are being deported. My job is to get there and explain to them what we're going to do next.
Hola, jefe, buenas tardes.
Customs officials investigate a passenger suspected of bringing more than the allowable amount of cash into the country.
¿Cuántos días va a permanecer acá en Colombia?
El jueves.
Las personas que People that arrive in the country with more than $10,000 have to go through an uncomfortable process. Muy incómodo. We investigate everything about them to see if they're tied to anything suspicious.
Me olvidé que además traía un sobrecito con $2.000 que se llevó para mi familia. 37, 38, 99 y 7. $12.000. La norma colombiana exige que toda persona que ingrese al territorio nacional puede traer la cantidad de dólares siempre que sean declarados. Si usted trae $2.000 más y no los declaró, es motivo de retención de este dinero. Se le devuelven a usted los 10.000 y sobre estos 2.000 usted va a pagar una sanción. Si usted los hubiese declarado, no habría motivo de retención. ¿Sí?
Ha sido un error mío.
Sí, sí.
Lo reconozco.
Sí.
The investigation confirms the Argentinian is carrying $2,000 more than the $10,000 maximum. He will have to forego the $2,000 he didn't declare and pay a 40% fine on that $2,000.
At El-Corrado Airport, confiscated currency during the year 2014 surpassed $4 million. The majority were Mexican citizens that arrived carrying anywhere from $250,000 to $300,000.
¿Cuánto dinero en efectivo traen en este momento?
In immigration, officers hold 8 Bangladeshi citizens attempting to leave the country using fake documents.
Jefe, ya está listo todos los pasaportes de los señores. Vamos a deportar.
Bangladesh is now many problem, and I know people in Bangladesh. 2 political party, many problem. My ID card is false. He said it's no problem. Just you go and you come back, no problem. This person I paid the $500, and he give the ID card. So like last 15 months I stay in Brazil, refugiado.
Es claro que esos señores.
It is clear that these gentlemen, more than criminals,
son víctimas.
Are victims of a human trafficking organization.
They arrive in South America in ships or flights, since many South American countries don't require a visa. Then they start the journey from South America, crossing through Colombia, which then connects them to Central America. There they continue the route until they get to the U.S. That's their final destination, the U.S., the American dream.
This immigration officer will now escort the Bangladeshis back to the Brazilian border.
Okay, now we're going to go to the plane and we're going to fly to Leticia. Okay, I have to
give it to the Brazilian authorities.
This is one more in the long list of cases of people that are victims of human trafficking organizations. All these organizations do is exploit people, taking advantage of their dreams and ideals for financial gain, which is criminal.
At the border, the immigration officer will transfer the Bangladeshis to the Brazilian authorities. The Brazilians will determine these refugees' final destination. Anti-narcotics officers arrest 3 men from the same flight. Two brothers and a friend were attempting to smuggle ingested drugs to Mexico. Now they're transferred to Engativá Hospital, where they can expel the drug capsules safely.
In this case, we received 3 patients who ingested foreign objects, probably around 35 and 45 capsules each. They are waiting to pass all the capsules so that we can X-ray them and discharge them properly.
Unfortunately, I had to do something that I didn't want to do, but they forced me to do it. The threat started via telephone. They called me and started to tell me where my parents live and what they do. They told me that if I didn't do what they wanted, well, they would retaliate against them and me.
They told me I had to go in with them, that if we didn't work for them, supposedly going to Mexico to conduct business, that my family was in danger, that my parents could not remain in the village. They screw with you, and you end up feeling like you don't have any other way out.
I prefer to be in jail or to be doing illegal things than to see my family dead. So I did this not because I wanted to, but because I felt trapped. They take advantage of vulnerable people, people that have families, and they take advantage of that to achieve their criminal goals. They told me that I would have to travel here to Bogota, that I had to go to a hotel. And in that hotel, we ingested the capsules like they told us we had to ingest them. In total, I ingested 41 capsules.
Each of us had a certain number. For me, it was 45. So I ingested them.
I ingested 37. For me, I had to reach 1 kilogram, or they said it wasn't worth it. They did it their way, the tickets, everything. They got everything, and said, you do this and this. Like a dream, we would say, this can't be. It's something one cannot imagine or believe.
They strategically used psychology on us. They tell us that nothing will happen and what strategy to use if the police stop us, what we'll have to say. That we're going to an event in Mexico for Latin American indigenous groups, and that we're going to do some sightseeing during those days.
The day I was caught, yesterday, well, I thought that's it, or I thought that my life was over, that my dreams had only come this far.
Well, in the moment the police caught us, you freeze, as if you're floating. Because for any person or human being, I think it's hard to be in this. It's a situation that you'd never in your life wish upon anyone, nor ever dream of being in. I don't think millions are worth your freedom.
In the hospital, the 3 young drug carriers wait to expel the capsules. Then, they will face drug trafficking charges. It's not something they look forward to telling their parents.
Nope. At this time, we haven't done it because it would be a blow to them. So we've preferred to shield them from this situation instead of telling them.
I am not going to do it. My dad is sick and is elderly, and I know he couldn't handle me being in jail. I know he will die when I tell him.
My mother is a housewife and my dad's a farmer. Currently, my mother has a critical sickness, cancer. But I ask God and entrust Him to bless her and to give her fortitude so that she gets better. And I also ask Him to give me the opportunity to get out as soon as possible so that I can be by her side.
I have little hope because if I had money and if I were a true drug trafficker, I could pay for a lawyer who'd simply act on my behalf. But I don't have a clue on how to proceed, nor do I have a penny to do so. It's complicated.
Each individual carried capsules containing approximately 800 grams of liquid cocaine. For this crime, they could face up to 12 years in prison.
When drug trafficking gains ground, it becomes harder to fight, and the effort has to be much greater. And I think that in 1 year, between 180 and 200 million dollars were invested in the fight against drug trafficking in this country.
La compañía de antinarcóticos en uno de los puertos asentados aquí en esta ciudad de Cartagena logra determinar que cerca a una de las embarcaciones flotaban 3 tubos estilo torpedo y allí se encuentran aproximadamente 272 kilos de clorhidrato de cocaína.
Today we are experts at this, and I think that's why our country has become a model worldwide in the fight against drug trafficking.
El-Dorado Airport is one of the safest and most secure in Latin America because of the controls that we have in place. Groups who operate outside our drug laws spend time looking for people with certain traits. Drug carriers tend to share similar traits. First, traffickers looked for people between 20 and 30 years old who were willing to take greater risks in life. Later, they found out that we were capturing a lot of people with this profile, and so they started looking for other kinds of people. And currently, there is such a tight inspection of Colombian nationals that they started expanding their range to include passengers of other nationalities.
Sí, es certificado, pero no es droga, no puede, ¿entiendes?
One cannot determine if traffickers have a preferred method. The number of people traveling is very large, and the number of international flights is also numerous. Traffickers hope that they can elude some of our security checks. They can send 2, 3 carriers on one flight, in the hopes that only one is caught and the other 2 are successful and can pass the drugs through.
The role of the anti-narcotics police within the airport security plan is extremely important. This is how we can supervise all international departures in addition to that of the critical flights. In that way, we are aiding other countries by preventing the entrance of drugs across their borders, and the results are tangible, evident, and significant.